With a hawk-like beak and a very flat face, owls have a distinct place in the hierarchy of birds. Coming in many shapes and sizes, they're many times nocturnal and solitary. But as they deliver their little ones, we, as their counterparts, can come across babies in distress. Here to help us understand how to handle this is Susan Clevin, director of the Frank Buck Zoo in Gainesville. Welcome. Welcome to all of you.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
So tell us about who you have here.
Well, I brought Archimedes. He is a screech owl. He's full grown. He's one of our animal ambassadors at the Frank Buck Zoo. So he's not on exhibit normally. He comes out for programs and teaches kids about how important birds of prey are to us here in Texas.
He is so cute, and he's little. I mean, how many inches is he long?
I would say he's
8?
probably about, yeah, that's probably a pretty good guess, yeah. And the reason I brought him today is because that February is actually bird of prey breeding season here in North Texas. So we're seeing a lot of activity. A lot of people are seeing all sorts of things that they wouldn't normally see.
Sure.
And here in just a few weeks to a couple of months, we'll be seeing a lot of fledglings, a lot of birds feeding young, and maybe potentially some on the ground as well.
So if we do come across one on the ground while we're out and about, what should we do?
Well, if you look on the Texas Parks and Wildlife website, they actually have a list of rehabilitators.
Our next guest is moving away over here.
Sure is. And they have a list of rehabilitators that are licensed to actually care for these animals and try and get them back out into the wild. He was actually a rehab. Unfortunately, though, well, actually, fortunately for us, he decided he liked being around people better than being out in the wild.
So we don't touch them. Like, do we leave, what does it say on the site? We leave them, or we?
Yeah, we leave them, and basically a lot of times we get calls from people because it looks like a bird's been grounded and they have a wing injury.
Sure.
Very often they're just eating. They do something called mantling over their food to protect it so no other bird of prey sees it, and oftentimes those birds will fly off.
So that's why their wing is up. They're covering their food.
Exactly.
I see. Also, I heard that it's a problem that they get hit by cars.
Yes, particularly the owls. Early in the morning and then also at dusk. It's not uncommon at all for these little guys to swoop down a little bit too close to the road and get hit.
Yes. And we saw on the news recently that one was in the grill of someone's car, and it was so sad, but they got it out okay.
Yeah, and I'm sure that bird is being rehabilitated, and if at all possible, they'll try and release the bird.
So he.
That's correct.
He preferred to stay. Hi. Oh, excuse me. Did I say it wrong the first time? He was rehabilitated and doesn't want to go back into the wild.
That's correct. And he's perfectly healthy and he's perfectly capable of hunting, but he decided it was more fun to fly back onto people's heads than it was to go to where he needed to be.
So he's joined your troop then in education. Fantastic. He is wonderful. I loved getting to see him, and it's amazing how comfortable he's been with everyone since the moment he got out here. Now our next guest is trying to escape, so maybe we should talk about him real quick.
Yeah, basically this is another very common animal here in North Texas that people encounter, but fewer and fewer over the years, to the point where Texas Parks and Wildlife now actually has a place on their website where when people see these ornate box turtles or the other species of box turtle that's found here in North Texas.
He's shy. Look at him.
He's there he goes. His head in. That's why he's called a box turtle, because he's got a little hinge and he can kind of pull up and kind of pull his head right in there.
There he goes.
And but basically these guys, there's fewer of them around than there used to be. So Texas Parks and Wildlife has asked people that when they spot them to go online and fill out a form that tells like what county they're in, what the temperature was like, what time of year, to help them collect information about where these animals are.
And are they normally with a group, or do you see them on their own?
You see them on their own generally.
So they're by themselves when you spot them. And are they safe, or you should leave them alone?
Well, it's always a good idea to leave animals. If they can live in the wild, that's where they belong. Sometimes they need a little helping hand from us, and if we can bring them in and give them the care that they need and get them back out to the wild, that's what we need to do.
Oh, that's great. And he's talking to me. I don't know if y'all can hear him, but there he goes again.
A little purring noise.
So much fun to hear. Thank you so much. What a wonderful treat to have them in the studio, and now to know what to do if we come across them in our everyday lives. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
Again, the Frank Buck Zoo is located in Gainesville on California Street. Check out frankbuckzoo.com for more information, or call the number that you see on the screen. Public giraffe feedings, those are so much fun, take place at 10:30 a.m. daily with the weather permitting.